Hey everybody, it's your boy Captain Hunter coming at you again. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Today we're going to jump into, we're going to talk about the Trump administration, the former Trump administration, and the problems that he himself has been having. We're going to get into his Mar-a-Lago search and his refusal to answer questions, right? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Breonna Taylor, what's going on with the Breonna Taylor case. And we're going to end off with the stories that go on when people are unable to control their tempers, whether it's too much mayonnaise in their food, cold fries, or trouble at the airport. So let's jump into it. Let's start off with the former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, who apparently, when he left the office of the presidency, decided to take with him some highly classified information, documents, whatever, and that's what the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, was looking for when they went to his Florida residence in Mar-a-Lago. Very interesting as to what's going on here, and what's more interesting to me is that people are still willing to follow this man. Listen, don't get me wrong. When he was president of the United States, my stocks and savings were booming. I have no complaints about any of that. I appreciated everything that he did for that. But it was his divisiveness that was really problematic. It was his divisiveness, and there was a strong element of racist sentiments that were reemerging under his administration. I don't think that he did quite enough or anywhere close to enough about suppressing that. In fact, he did everything he could with Jeff Sessions to enable it and to keep it going, right? Refusing to fund and to go after white supremacist groups and things along those lines. But I've talked about that in the past and no need to rehash that again. But those are the problems that I had with him and his presidency. I mean, I think we all want every president to do well, to succeed, and things along those lines. But he just wasn't able to do that, and he just didn't have a caring attitude about what was going on. So that was very problematic. So they decided to search his home. And as I was reading this, very interesting that... let's see. The former president said Mar-a-Lago's search was unannounced. So they took many pages of classified information, as you can see right here. Many pages of classified information. Just really, and outside of his home while this is going on, his defenders were making noise. Right. This is a witch hunt. It's the FBI has been co-opted by his political rivals. They don't want him to run for presidency again in 2024. Man, and so the New York Times just does a deep dive into when this can be done. Is the president unprecedented? Is it un-American? Of course, people are going to gaslight us and try to trick us and fool us and all this type of stuff. So interesting information out there. What are your thoughts and opinions about this? Do you care about Donald Trump? Do you think that they should have done it? Do you think that there's any parallels to what he did and to what he accused of Hillary Clinton doing, destroying emails and things along those lines? And then, of course, he refused to answer questions when asked about his tax liens. He just had a bad week, the week of August 8th or so. Just a really bad week for this man. So just interesting information right there. And listen, I don't want to keep this particular podcast as a political one, but you got to understand the FBI's role and just be willing to go along with what they say and understand that there's a rule of law, which President Trump during his time in office just flouted and touted. Just didn't care about the rule of law. Everyone has to be faithful and loyal to me, not to the Constitution, not to the rule of law, but to me as the president of the United States. And this is the outcome of that. This coming back to bite him. Let's see, got more stories to talk. Trump. Let's go on to the Breonna Taylor case here. Breonna Taylor. So this is a shocking case, and this is what is damaging so much of law enforcement's reputation, right? This is the thing. And so when people have asked me, how come I don't want to talk about more police stuff? Because this is the problem. This is the problem that is going on, right? We have to expose it. Yes, it should be talked about. And I'm certainly willing to talk about it because I'm doing a story about this. But this is why I want to focus on so many other things, because this is a problem. And I've talked about this so many times, right? So we take a look at this article, or the headline says, ex-Louisville police officer charged in Breonna Taylor's search warrant to plead guilty. So we're going to jump into that. So let's jump into it, and then I'll give you what's going on here. Former Louisville Metro Police Detective Kelly Hannah Goodlet will plead guilty to one count of conspiring conspiring to violate the civil rights of Breonna Taylor for helping falsify an affidavit for the search of her apartment in March of 2020. Goodlett, 35, will appear August 22nd before U.S. District Judge David Hale to enter a plea, her lawyer Brenda Marshall announced in court Friday. Magistrate Judge Regina Edwards ordered Goodlett to surrender her passport and have no contact with her co-defendants, Sergeant Kyle Meany and former detectives Joshua James and Brett Hankinson. Goodlett was expected to plead guilty and to testify against her colleagues because she is charged by information rather than indicted. I'm not exactly sure what that means out there in Missouri, but because she was charged by information rather than indicted. She faces a sentence of no more than 5 years in prison. The charging document says Goodlett falsely claimed a postal inspector had verified Taylor was receiving packages for her ex-boyfriend, convicted drug dealer Jamaris Glover, at her apartment before the raid. So this says that she said that the postal director confirmed it, and that was a lie, as Maury Povich would say. That was a lie. And she wrote this in her affidavit in which she sworn and swore before. Goodlett was expected to plead guilty, 5 years in jail. Goodlett, a detective in a now disbanded place-based investigations. Apparently that's some special unit there. Also is charged with knowingly conspiring with James and others to falsify the search warrant affidavit. The indictment alleges Goodlett met with James in his garage to get on the same page after a postal inspector said that the claim that Taylor was receiving packages was bogus. So in other words, they talked to this postal inspector. He or she said, I can't verify any of that. So Goodlett and James said, let's talk about this. So they met at the garage, and let's get on the same page so we can get this warrant, falsify this document, and let's lie to the people, lie to the judges. James, 40, and Meany, 35, also face civil rights charges for the search that ended in Taylor's death, while Hankinson, 46, is charged with violating the civil rights of Taylor, her boyfriend Kenneth Walker, and 3 of Taylor's neighbors by blindly firing shots into her apartment. Taylor was killed during a police raid on her apartment near Iroquois Park when Walker, thinking an intruder was breaking in, fired one shot that hit Sergeant John Mattingly in his leg. He and another detective, Miles Cosgrove, returned fire, killing Taylor. She was 26 at her death, set up protests that lasted for months in Louisville and other cities. Mattingly has since retired and Cosgrove was fired. Neither has been charged because U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland said the officers who ultimately carried out the search warrant at Taylor's apartment were not involved in the drafting of the warrant and were unaware of the false and misleading statements that it contained. This is a horrific story. I got this from the Courier-Journal. Horrific story because of their lie, because of them getting on the same page, because of their embarrassment to law enforcement, because of their actions being Goodlett and James. Breonna Taylor is dead. Sparked off days of protests. Carried that and coupled that with the protests that were, I can't remember the exact time of this is going on. But I know it was coupled and lumped into the situation that happened in Minneapolis. With George Floyd. So this is what happened, right? So let me talk just a little bit about these different organizations and why officers do what they do. Why do they do that? Why do police officers frame people, get together to get their story straight? Why do they do it? Well, because as this disbanded unit once entailed, they were under, if you join a specialized unit, gang unit, motorcycle stealing unit, auto theft unit, FBI task force, joint conjunction with ATF, FBI, countywide task force to suppress crime, burglary units. There is a need to perform. You have to turn in numbers. You have to make arrests. You have to suppress crime. You have to do what they're tasked to do, right? There's government assistance, sometimes government grants involved. People are hankering to get on it for the resume building and all that type of stuff. So when there is that pressure to perform, you got to turn the numbers, right? So you think that you have these people, you think that you know what's going on, but you just can't prove it. So therefore comes in the lies, the deceptions, the falsifications of reports and affidavits in order to support your thesis that this person is up to no good. And here we see the dangerousness of that. With Taylor, Miss Breonna Taylor is dead because the postal inspector in this case didn't verify their story. And because everyone didn't know what everyone was doing, was the person in custody? The original target, was he in custody? Were there drugs at the apartment? All of this kind of stuff. This is what happens because they're trying to do things right. And because of this inconsistent documentation, inconsistent testimonies, right? This is why drug dealers often go free. This is why things get turned out. And right in the United States, we have this doctrine of not being able to use illegally gotten gains and evidence in court trials. And so this is the purpose of it, to dissuade the use of false information, falsely gotten information, to their benefit. And here it is. Here it is. This is the reason for it. This is why these stories are so sad and so tragic. So let me know your thoughts and your opinions about this. What do you think about Miss Kelly Goodlett? Hannah? The heck is her name? Kelly Hannah Goodlett. What's your thoughts? What do you think that should happen to her? I hope that she serves every single day because a young lady is dead because of her lies. So let me get to some really, really sad situations. So so this is a really sad story out of New York. A McDonald's worker shot over cold French fries. Brooklyn McDonald's worker who was shot in the neck and spat over cold fries has died, cops announced. Matthew Webb, 23, succumbed to his injuries after he was shot over the Bedford-Stuyvesant food restaurant where he worked, NYPD said. The attack has been deemed a homicide. Michael Morgan, 20, is already charged with attempted murder and criminal possession of a loaded firearm for blasting Webb. And you gotta love the way the New York papers write. Blasting Webb in anger at his mom getting served cold French fries. So a woman walks into a McDonald's in Brooklyn, Bedford-Stuyvesant, gets cold French fries, goes over to, returns and says, listen, these fries are cold. They then take the fries back, a bunch of little kids, 17, 18, 19, whatever they were, and then gave her more cold fries. Either they gave her a couple of warmed up fries or newly fresh fries, but they didn't take the whole fresh batch back and then give her a new fresh batch. They didn't take what she had in her hand back and give her fresh ones. They either gave it back to her with a couple hot fries on top or something along those lines. They then started making jokes, laughing at her, making fun of her. The woman, the adult, calls her 21-year-old son, Michael Morgan. Michael Morgan shows up to the restaurant with his girlfriend. An argument ensues. Threats start getting made. I'm saying, I'm going to fight you, this, that, and the other. And then the guy ends up getting his girlfriend to hand him the gun. He then blasts the dude in the neck. He was brain dead for a little while. I believe they pulled the plug, and he's dead now. Let's read this. Webb was toiling at the Fulton Eatery Monday evening when Morgan's mom, Lisa Fulmore, complained to workers that her fries were cold and asked to speak to the manager. Apparently, the manager had stepped out of the office or something like that. Reading more from the New York Post, when the workers began laughing at her, Fulmore was FaceTiming with Morgan, her son, who came to the restaurant and got into a fight with Webb that spilled out into the sidewalk. So they start throwing hand to hand. As the cowards do, you probably start losing or not getting the best of them. Morgan then punched Webb in the face, and when he got back up, he pulled out a gun and blasted him in the neck, prosecutors said. When the workers began laughing, Fulmer was FaceTiming with Morgan, who came to the restaurant and got to a fight with Webb that spilled to the sidewalk. Morgan punched Webb in the face, and when he got back up, so Morgan was actually winning the fight, and then blasted him in the neck. This is so tragic to any one of us who have children, to know that your son or daughter is going about their business, trying to be a good, productive citizen. And some nitwit, some knucklehead who's got nothing to lose, shoots him in the neck over some cold freaking fries because of this lack of respect that he thought that his mother was suffering. His mom, listen to this. His mom later told police that her son told her he got to do what he got to do. The suspect's girlfriend, Camelia Dunlap, has also been charged with weapons possessions for allegedly handing Morgan the gun. That's not enough. She's got to be charged with murder. I don't understand why they didn't charge her with murder. You handed him the gun. What do you think he was going to do with it? She was arraigned later on Wednesday and held on $50,000 cash bail after prosecutors said she admitted to possessing the gun. So she had the gun. Why is she not charged with murder? I don't understand that. There's been a lot. I've been reading a lot as far as charging men and women equally. And here's a case where it doesn't seem to be applicable. Why was this young lady not charged with murder? Morgan was also charged with an earlier murder after allegedly confessing during questioning about the McDonald's shooting. So not only did he shoot this guy, but when he gets down to the station house, he starts talking to the cops and he starts admitting to another killing. Clearly, this individual should never walk the streets of our city ever again. He allegedly killed Kevin Holloman in October 2021. Cold French fries. Cold French fries, and this kid is dead. Cold French fries, because his mother felt disrespected. So she calls up her son, and her son shows up there with his girlfriend. Yeah, let's go down there, get him all amped up, batteries in the back. Let's do this. And it sounds as if he's winning the fight. He punched the dude in the face, and the dude got back up. So you want him to stay down forever? Listen, we got to do better as far as holding our community standards up. We got to do better as far as what we're doing for our young men and for our young women. We got to do better as far as training, teaching, fathers in the home, fathers present, uncles, pastors, coaches, building a community where we can stop this type of foolishness. Here's a young kid, 20 years old, beginning his life, doing the right thing. He's got a job. Horrible. And here's not the worst. This isn't even the worst of it. As I'm looking for this story, right? Here's a story from CNN. Subway restaurant worker killed after dispute over mayo, police said. An employee at a Subway restaurant in Atlanta was shot and killed Sunday after a customer got upset about a condiment on his sandwich. Police were called to the restaurant near Mercedes-Benz Stadium in downtown Atlanta shortly after 6:30 p.m. Officers found 2 employees shot. One woman was later pronounced dead at a hospital. There was a very tragic situation that didn't have to occur, Deputy Chief Charles Hampton Jr. said. The suspect came into the restaurant to order a sandwich, and there was something wrong with his sandwich that was made him so upset that he decided to take his anger out on 2 employees. Police arrested Melvin Williams, 36, on Sunday and charged him with murder, aggravated assault, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. The medical examiner identified the victim as Brittany Macon, 26. An autopsy has been completed, but the preliminary cause of death is gunshot wounds. Bertram Ennett, an investigator, said. The 24-year-old woman was shot and was in critical condition. Her 5-year-old son was also in the store at the time of the shooting. So this dude, 36 years old, goes into a restaurant, orders a sandwich. They put too much mayonnaise on it. He complains, and this man shoots 2 ladies. One of them, her son was in the restaurant when it's going down. We have to take our communities back. We have to work on what's going on here. This is crazy. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Here's another story. Argument over parking spot at Atlanta restaurant leaves 1 dead, 2 injured, police said. An argument, parking space at a restaurant turns deadly. They were called to Odyssey Restaurant Investigators learned an argument broke out over a driver possibly blocking another car, and at some point during the argument, shots were fired. So you're blocking me in. Hey, listen, can you move? Yeah, hold on, wait a minute. I'll be done in a minute. Who do you think you're talking to? N-word? I don't even know these people. I don't even know. I don't know the race of these individuals. I'm just assuming that this is how it went down. Officers say they found one man dead in the parking lot of the restaurant and another man who had been grazed in the leg by a bullet. Family identified the man who died as 30-year-old Joseph London Smith. They say he leaves a daughter. Smith was planning on attending film school. I found these two stories about the parking lot and the mayonnaise after because I was looking for the McDonald's shooting. Absolute madness. While I'm looking for that, here's another one. Murder suspect calls 911 over cold McDonald's French fries, ends up in a police chase. This is a different story of August 12th. There's another one going on. Cold fries are leading to individuals being killed and running from the cops. A Georgia murder suspect with an outstanding warrant called 911 to complain about being served cold French fries at McDonald's, then ended up in cuffs after trying to run from the cops. Antoine Sims, 24, was wanted for a missing court date in 2018 case where he and two others are accused of setting fire to a car with a woman's body inside after a botched drug deal led to a gunfight, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Sims was apparently out on bond, and wearing an ankle bracelet when he had visited the McDonald's in Kennesaw on Friday and got into a verbal argument with a franchise owner who called 911. The irate and hungry, gotta love the New York Post. The irate and hungry suspect said he and his fiance ordered food but weren't given a receipt because of a machine problem. So they didn't know their order number if it was called. When Sims went to the counter to get the meal, he found the food's temperature wasn't to his liking. I tried the fries. The fries were lukewarm, but they're not hot. He's heard telling a police officer outside the store in front of a body cam footage. He asked for a new order of fries, but was rejected and instead offered a refund that wouldn't hit his account for days, he added. The McDonald's worker gave a different description, saying Sims got rowdy and threatened, "You better give me effing fresh fries, you MFer." He tells the officer in the footage. Sims then shoved his food and drink at the man, he claimed. He eventually kicked Sims out of the store and asked him to never come back. Dude's obviously on probation. He got an ankle bracelet on, the unnamed co-worker said. Outside the restaurant, cops tell Sims he cannot come back to the restaurant and ask him to sign an acknowledgement, which he gets visibly nervous and asks if he's under arrest. He refuses to go close to the officers to sign the document. "No, I'm afraid of y'all. I just did 3 years," he said. The video shows. One officer approaches him and sprints, and Sims sprints away, sparking the chase. And he's here on murder charges. Oh Lord! And I found this story again by people looking for the cold French fries in the other case that I mentioned. Listen, these are horrendous stories. I'm sad to have reported on them. Listen, my podcast is about bridging the divide between the police and the communities that they serve. We got to do better with our young men, right? We got a 36-year-old man shooting at ladies. We got a 24-year-old dude who's on the lam from Georgia. We got people fighting with the police. We got police officers falsifying records. We got the president of the United States taking classified information allegedly. What is going on? We gotta make better decisions, people. We gotta make better decisions. And for the last story we're going to talk about here is going to be an incident that happened in an airport where the man is fighting with a woman and they're getting in each other's faces. The woman then punches the man, is then separated, and he tries to go after her, but other men jump in to stop the incident from going down. So we'll end off with that. Much love and peace.
You haven't lost your mind. Don't touch me ever in your life. touched me first, and then you got in my face. Don't ever invade my personal space.
Get out of my face!
No, I'm not.
You fucking faggot!
I'm here.
You fucking
I'm here.
fucking jabbing-ass bitch!
You're touching me again.
You're fucking
touching me again.
Get the fuck out of my face,
touching me
bitch!
again.
It's all on camera,
It surely is.
You touched me.
But you in my personal
ugly
space.
ass.
You're in my personal
Out of my
space.
face.
You're in my personal space. Stay out of my personal space. She's touching me. She's touching me. And I'm telling you, don't put, she can't put her hands on me. Oh, wait a minute. No.
Hey, stop it! Hey!
Don't you ever put your hands on me. No, get the fuck, everybody back off from me. This bitch put her hands on me.
You're not gonna fight that woman, man.
This bitch put
No,
her hands
watch out,
on me.
man. You ain't gonna fight that woman, bro. You're not gonna fight that
You
woman.
got the wrong person.
Don't fight that woman, bro.
You got the wrong person. This bitch just put my hands on me.
You ain't gonna fight that woman.
Hey, relax.
You ain't gonna fight no woman.
I don't give a fuck.
Relax.
I fight whoever. I fight whoever. I
Take a
fight
deep
whoever.
breath.
Put your hands
I
on me.
fight whoever.
Put your hand.
I fight whoever. I fight whoever.
Knock your bitch ass
Just
out. Knock me out. Knock your
relax.
bitch ass
Knock
out.
me
Deep
out.
breath.
Knock me
It's
out.
okay.
Trick ass.
Knock
It's
me out.
okay.
You saw what she did.
It's okay.
Look, listen, this has been your boy, Captain Hunter. Hit that rate, subscribe, share button. If there's any stories you want me to cover, make sure you send them to me. Much love and peace, everyone.